Hello, everyone. Welcome back for a new episode of the 9521 Atlanta Baseball Podcast. As I am joined by my co-host Mike, as usual, and we are back here on August the 10th. Michael, as the season is in its last few weeks, and the Braves hurtle towards the postseason. And we are live on X. So as we are recording, the Braves are playing the Mets, who have just been their absolute kryptonite this year for some reason.
I just don't get how we're losing constantly to the last place Mets. I don't get it.
The Mets can't beat anyone else, but they can beat the Braves. And I see that Dubon just grounded into a double play. But hey, wild pitch comes through for us. Wild pitch comes through for the Braves and drives home the fifth run. So the Braves currently trail the Mets 7-5 in the fifth. A really rough start to the game for Bryce Elder, but the offense is slowly trying to climb back into this one. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. So Mike, looking back at last week, the Braves did sweep the Fish at home, and the offense looked really good, and the starting pitching looked really good, and the pitching has looked pretty good, really kind of since the All-Star break. The starting pitching, I think maybe Bryce Elder, Grant Holmes, the new guy, Tyler Mahle, maybe they took offense to everyone jumping on AA for not grabbing starting pitching. Tonight's start by Elder notwithstanding, they've been very good. Grant Holmes in particular has been very good. He was solid yesterday on Sunday as the Braves avoided a 3-game sweep at Yankee Stadium. Just kind of your general impressions, Michael, the last week, the sweep of the Fish, and then a really kind of fluky, but also just a really gut-wrenching 3-game series in the Bronx where every game was one run. It seems like the Braves played nothing but one-run games lately. And, the Yankees came out on top in 2 of them, but you really felt like the Braves maybe could have won all 3 of those games.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely could have. But with the Fish, it seems we can beat up on the third place team, but can't seem to beat the last place team. They looked good, beating up on the Fish, and that was great. And I love the fact that Grant Holmes was able to duel with Cam Slittler, and actually.
You got to be careful saying that name.
Yep, I know, for multiple reasons.
Yes,
but yeah. He was able to duel with him, and given neither of them got the decision, but we got a win out of that game. You're correct. All 3 games against New York were super close. We could have won every single one of them. We could have lost every single one of them. It was that good of games.
Yeah, it's one thing to play the Nats and the Marlins, and look, those 2 teams are not as bad as we usually think of those 2 teams as being. The Mets are supposed to be that team, and we keep struggling with them. But still, the Nats, the Marlins, the Nats started selling at the deadline. The Marlins have been very streaky. They can win 10 in a row, and then they'll lose 10 in a row. But either way, that's not the same as playing the Yankees in the Bronx. And look, the Yankees were without Bellinger. They're without Aaron Judge. They're without Giancarlo Stanton. So that was not a full Yankees team that we played. Credit to our starting pitching, though. There's still a lot of talented hitters on that team. Ben Rice is good. George Lombard looks like he's going to be the real deal, by the way, for the Yankees. That's going to be a talented lineup coming up in the future. And right now, honestly, that team with, when you have Fried, Garrett Cole, and Cam Slittler, you got a shot in any series. So that Yankee team is going to be tough. No shame in losing 2 out of 3. Should have won Friday night for sure. Iglesias had a meltdown in the bottom of the ninth. And look, Iggy has not been himself really since late May. We were at that game at Fenway, my wife and I, where the Braves had a solid lead going to the bottom of the ninth, and he kind of made it way too interesting. Ended up, holding it. And since then, he's really kind of struggled. If you look at his numbers, they're not great. And I think he's blown 3 saves since then. And that one Friday night really was gut wrenching because we had the shutout. We got the insurance home run in the top of the ninth from Matt Olson, and you just felt like, okay, Iggy's going to come in here and shut this thing down. Just didn't happen. And the thing about Iggy, I think he'll straighten it out. He did come in yesterday and have a really good inning on Sunday. He had a clean inning, 1, 2, 3, I think in like 9 pitches. So he already kind of showed that he can bounce back. And closers have those moments. I think the bigger concern with the bullpen is right now what's going on with Robert Suarez. We were originally told he'd be back right after the All-Star break. Well, that was a month ago, basically. And now we're hearing that he's not even throwing yet and he's still experiencing some soreness. To me, Robert Suarez is a huge key. If the Braves want to make any kind of postseason run, we've talked about how they're going to count on the bullpen because, obviously – starting pitching, we beat that to death. Suarez is a huge part of that, Mike, and I'm getting a little concerned if we're going to see him again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, that I would have no problem with them holding him back and have him, come back in late September and be fine for October. But yeah, if he's not throwing, I don't know if he's coming back at all this season, and he's definitely needed. He's the 8th inning guy. If we can get the starter to go 6 and then have Dylan Lee and then him and then Iggy, it shortens the game. And I don't want to say they're completely a shutdown bullpen, but they're pretty close if we can get them all lined up just right.
Yeah, I mean, I made a post a few days ago on X. When you get to the postseason, I think people sometimes forget this. When you get to the postseason, it's very different as far as how you handle the pitching staff. You don't necessarily have to have 4 or 5 good starters. You need 2 or 3 really good starters and a solid bullpen. Because at that point, especially if Malay pitches well, so let's just say you have Chris Sale, you have Malay, you have, until tonight, I would say Bryce Elder, but we'll see. I mean, you never know with Bryce. He did catch a couple of bad breaks in the first inning. A lot of people are letting him off the hook because of that, but you're a professional. You got to overcome that. You got Elder, you got Malay, you got potentially AJ Smith-Shawver coming back. He's looking really good right now in Gwinnett. So if he can carry that over, then you've got him. Bottom line is if you could get Grant Holmes and Ronaldo Lopez into the bullpen for the postseason in a short series, then if Malay or Elder do have a meltdown and they only go 3 or 4, then you've got those guys that can fill in the gap till you get to the Fuentes and the Dylan Lees and the Dylan Dodds and hopefully Suarez. But like you just said, like that, Suarez makes such a big difference when you're talking about that. Even if Iggy continues to have a meltdown, if you have Suarez, you can let him close a few games. Like he's been a closer. Yeah, he's got. I know coming into this season, I think he'd had the most saves in MLB in the last 4 seasons or something. So he knows how to close games.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about that postseason. We're all on edge about the starting pitching, and I still think there were mistakes made there by not shoring that up more. I know, we haven't really talked about it that much, but I do realize that it sounds like, Anthopoulos went after, or at least made an offer on Skubal, went after DeGrom, and then the whole no trade clause got in the way. But there were pitchers that just weren't signed. Like guys, Nathan Eovaldi, or not traded for. Nathan Eovaldi comes to mind. He didn't get traded. I just think there were other options there, but we won't belabor that point now. We've beat that to death. Looking ahead to the postseason, things are handled differently. And so if you can have a bullpen of Holmes, Lopez, Fuentes, Lee, Suarez, Iggy, and Dodd, that's a pretty good bullpen. So even if your starters struggle or they can, really hold the opponent down to 2 or 3 runs at worst and give the offense a chance, that's going to be the key. The offense has to perform better against really good pitchers. They struggled all weekend with the Yankees starters. And look, the Yankees have a great starting rotation. You've got to find a way to scratch some runs across there. And you also can't make boneheaded mistakes. Ozzie made a terrible base running blunder in the first game that cost them a run and ultimately possibly the game. Seems like there was another big mistake I'm going blank on, but all 3 games were winnable. But guys like Danny Young, who people were mad at Saturday after the Braves kind of rallied, Danny Young gives up a home run. Medeiros gives up a home run. Those guys are not going to be on the postseason roster, Mike. If they are, something's wrong. We had some injuries. They should not be on the postseason roster. I'm surprised Danny Young's still on the roster at all. But just your general thoughts on that. If we can pull that bullpen together like that, where you got Holmes and Raylo out there on top of what we already have, and Suarez comes back, you feel okay with that going into the postseason?
Yeah, and like I would think maybe Martin Perez might be like a 4th starter if we possibly need him as something's
I completely left out Martin there. Yeah, I completely left him out. Yeah,
but hey, I left out Fuentes and Dylan Judd and stuff like that. So like, I feel like all of with all of them in the bullpen, like you're gonna stick the extra starters basically in the bullpen to see just to carry the extra pitchers, and I don't have I feel like our bullpen will be perfectly fine when it comes to the postseason. It's just who's going to start the games and can they get us long enough to get to the bullpen and not like blow them completely out because if they only go 3, then you're going to blow out everyone's arms in one game.
Yeah, and look, I'll go back and kind of just clarify my point too. I think the pitching can be good enough in most situations, although you look at the matchups we could potentially have when you're facing potentially, Ohtani, Glasnow, Skubal, and heck, that's just their 3. Like then you can extend it to Yamamoto, Blake Snell. I mean, they're basically 5 or 6 deep there. And then the Phillies with Luzardo and Sanchez and Wheeler, like you don't know who you're going to match up against. And then of course the Cubs kind of they did go out and get pitching help at the deadline, starting pitching help. Misiorowski and Harris. I mean, it's just there's a lot of really good staffs to get out of the National League. And if we're going to battle with Chris Sale and then maybe Martin Perez is actually your number 2 starter at this point. Yeah, I just don't know. But if we can pull the bullpen together, at least that gives us a shot. The thing that I'm more worried about right now, to be honest with you, is what I just said. Can the offense generate enough runs against really good pitchers? Because that's all you're going to face in the postseason. I mean, I think the pitching will probably hold its own. Again, notwithstanding Bryce Elder's start tonight, it's been pretty good lately. I mean, they shut down the Nationals, who lead the league in scoring runs. So, the offense is going to have to come through. And the thing that's frustrating, I've seen a lot of people comment on this too, is the Braves seem to be really bad at working a pitcher lately. Like, the other day or whatever night Chris Sale started, Friday night, I guess, or Saturday, Sale was at 80 pitches in the 6th inning, I think, and our opponent's pitcher was at 50 or 60. And you're like, guys, we got to work some, I'll give you this stat real quick. I have this pulled up. Thank you again to Nicholas Eck for pulling these stats together. So last week, Braves batters struck out 57 times, led by Riley's 9 and Olson's 8. They walked 10 times. 57 strikeouts to 10 walks. And I know we've talked about contact being up this year, which contributes to lesser walks, but there have been many times where somebody had a chance to get a walk and swung at a pitch outside the zone, grounded out, popped up, and then the next guy hit a home run. And you're like, that could have been a 2-run homer. That could have been I think Ronnie had one Saturday maybe that he didn't challenge a pitch. That should have been a ball. He would have walked. And then I think Olson hit the home run later or right after that. I mean, that makes a difference when you're hitting solo shots instead of 2 or 3-run homers. But 57 strikeouts to only 10 walks, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, and I just check the game, and we forgot about Suter too. So
yes, yeah. Yeah, he could have a spot there as a lefty for sure. He's not a velocity guy. He's a breaking ball guy, but yeah, he throws an 88 mile per hour sinker. So maybe maybe Suter. I mean, you got to have that lefty, and since it's too late to go get anybody else, I mean, it may be him by default at this point. It's not going to be Danny Young. I don't believe it's going to be Danny Young. So, but yeah, just your thoughts on that offense, not taking the walks, 57 strikeouts to 10 walks last week.
Yeah, we definitely have to be more selective when it comes to pitches. You can't keep swinging at everything. If it's close, I understand. Maybe not swinging, but you got to try and work a walk. You got to work the count against the pitcher. Get his pinch count up so that we can get into their bullpens and stuff like that. It's definitely. I don't feel like they're doing that at all. Like you said, against the Chris Sale game, I want to say it was actually fifth when he was up into the 80s on pitches.
You could be right.
And and I forget who he was going up against, but was it Cole? I want to say it was Cole.
It was. And you know what? You're right, because not only was he up to 8, I think he entered the 6th. He came back out for the 6th at 93 pitches. Yeah. Because I think he ended up with like 105. So yeah, that's a great call there. Yeah, and it was Garrett Cole. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we weren't working the count with Garrett Cole. We were just letting him blow by us, basically, not fouling off pitches, not trying to just put good wood, put any kind of wood on it to just foul it off and get him keep going with the at bat, just to make him work a little bit harder. And we did get to him a little bit later, like I forget what inning it was, but we jumped on him for like one inning.
The 5th.
Yeah. The 5th?
Yeah. The bottom of the order jumped on him and got a couple runs, and then the top of the order completely choked on themselves, and we had a chance to knock him out, score some more runs, and I think it was Baldwin, Acuna, and Olsen didn't get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, we really, you got to, especially when we get into the playoffs, you have to start working the counts. You have to get their pitch count up, because that way not every team is going to have a deep bullpen like I feel like we have.
Right.
Other teams aren't going to have that deep bullpen. So if we can get into their bullpen, we'd be better off. Like I feel like the other teams will want to go off our starters, not get into our bullpen. We're not completely put down. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we have the greatest bullpen in the history of the world here, but I would take our bullpen on against the vast majority of the teams in the National League and the American League. So,
especially if we get Suarez back and you add Holmes and/or Lopez to that bullpen. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, or even if you keep, the way Holmes is pitching lately, we still got 2 months to go here, or a month and a half, so it could all break down. But let's just say Holmes keeps pitching this way as a starter, then maybe move Elder to the bullpen, and you got him and Lopez, and you got Sale, Perez, and Mallet and Holmes as your starters in the postseason. You still have a very strong bullpen there with Lopez. Didier Fuentes has just been he gave up a key home run the other day, but overall the kid's just been amazing in that role. Yeah, I don't know what his future is. I think they'll probably still want to make him a starter, but man, he is so good in that role, and he could be a closer. He's got the stuff to be a closer. He's done it once or twice this year already. Yep. Dylan Lee's shown I think he's maybe just fatigued. Dylan Lee's been used a lot, so maybe they can get him some rest over these last few weeks, especially if Suarez is able to come back. But yeah, there's still a lot of good options. And Iglesias, overall, I think Iggy's going to be fine. I really do. Every closer is going to have issues. Iggy's had issues before and straightened them out. Looked great yesterday in that game, like I said. Having that bullpen intact and having Suarez back, it's going to be the best shot the Braves have. But they're going to have to hit the ball. They're going to have to hit the baseball. 2021, the bullpen was lights out. The starters did get, Fried and Morton led the way. And we got great performances out of Ian Anderson that year and Kyle Wright. But the key that run in the postseason was we were hitting the ball. We were hitting the ball off everybody. We were hitting home runs. We were hitting we had big hits. We had walk-off singles. We did it all. That's going to be a huge key this year. If the Braves want to go any further than the first round again, they're going to have to find it, because that was the problem in 2022 and 2023 when we played the Phillies. The bats just went to sleep. Yeah. Can't have that, Mike. We just can't have that this year.
Yeah, in 2021, like the DS was Freddie and Austin Riley. The NLCS was Eddie just completely going off. And then the World Series was Soler, but everyone else was contributing also. And like you said, 22 and 23, we fell asleep. We decided, well, we have good enough pitching. We don't need to score runs. No, you need to score runs.
Yeah.
That's the point of this game. You win games by scoring runs.
Well, there was an intangible. We've talked about this many times, but there was an intangible thing that the Braves had in 2021 that I felt like they missed in a lot of the postseasons before that. People forget the Braves went a very long time without winning a postseason series. If you count, I mean, I guess you can. We won't get into that discussion, but if you count 2020, the Braves finally won a series, one of those 3-game series they had that year, where they kind of, they did a different kind of format because of COVID. We beat the Reds in a 3-game series, which would be like a wild card series now. Yeah. Then we won the NLDS. I think we beat the Marlins of all teams. Then we were up 3-1 on the Dodgers in the NLCS and let the Dodgers come back. But my point was, from that win against Cincinnati in 2020, I'm pretty sure it had been since 2003 or 4 since the Braves had won a postseason series. They went a long time without winning a postseason series.
It might have been longer than that too.
Yeah, it could have been. I'm trying to remember. I think we were last on the NLDS. Was it? Did we lose to Arizona? Did they beat us to go to the World Series that year when they beat the Yankees? I don't know.
You may be right.
Point is, we got a lot of postseason failures to fall back on. This is not new for the Braves. 2021 was the exception, and I feel like a lot of that had to do with some of the intangibles that team had that guys like Jock Peterson brought to the table. And then that was missing in 2022 and 2023. And my fear is it might be missing this year. I don't know. I can't get a handle on this team. They're a close team. They seem to enjoy playing with each other. But do you have guys on this team that are going to get you through those crisis of confidence maybe, where I think, a guy like Jock was probably building these guys up, keeping them loose. He hit a big home run in the NLDS against Milwaukee. All those guys that AA got at the deadline that year had their moments in the postseason. And I guess I was here. That leads me into this, by the way. I've seen this on X tonight, and I said this to my wife on the way home. We were driving back from helping my daughter move into her room at college, and we saw the lineup come out. And I said it to her, and then I got on X later, and people were talking about it too. What was the point of going to get Lane Thomas if we're going to keep putting Dubon in left field and Jarvis at short? Look, Jarvis has been a great story. I know people love Jim Jarvis. I love Jim Jarvis. But the numbers aren't good for a while now. They're pretty bad. I know he's had a hit here or there, big hit here or there. He's been okay defensively. But overall, this is just my opinion. Mike, you can disagree. I'd love to get your thoughts. Dubon needs to be the everyday shortstop. He can hit lefties and righties. I'm sure he's better against lefties, but he can hit both. He's been clutch all year, including tonight. Big 2-out single tonight with 2 runs. And you have Thomas against lefties and Yastrzemski against righties in left field. What are we doing if we're going to go get Thomas and then put him on the bench when this is what we got him for, was to hit the ball off a lefty. So your thoughts around that, having Jarvis back in there at short and putting Dubon in left?
Well, I think he Walt's trying to basically let Jarvis play himself out of the majors, not let him fail, but let's make sure that we got everything out of him. And now we've got Ha-Seong Kim back, so we got to find time for him. But also, I feel like, the rest of the season should be Yaz and Thomas and left field switching off, depending on the starter. And Doobie should be at short. Jarvis, I think at this point, I wouldn't be shocked in the next couple weeks he ends up back in Gwinnett. But I like the kid for the future. I think he's got a decent chance to make, if not our major league roster, someone's major league roster. But right now, going into the playoffs, it should be Doobie at short, because I don't have enough confidence in Ha-Seong Kim to be able to perform anywhere better than he was at the beginning of the season, which is pretty sad. But I feel like Lane Thomas and Yaz should be the ones out in left field, and Doobie should be at short.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that was the plan when we got Lane Thomas. I feel like I've barely seen him. I think he had 9 at bats last week, but yeah, Jarvis is probably going to make one of those decent utility guys, like Nick Allen. I mean, maybe a little better with the bat than Nick, but I think it's kind of run its course. I think you got to put Dubon in there every day. But you bring up a good point too. Like, maybe let Jarvis have the playing time. I don't feel – I mean, I still see a lot of – and look, we've seen this happen to teams. I'm not saying it's over and done with, but I do feel like the Braves are going to win the East. Yeah, I still see people following every night, the Phillies won or the Phillies lost. I mean, at this point, if the Braves don't win this division, if they blow the division, then let's just – that's a whole other conversation. They're going to win the division. But that's no longer a measuring stick for this team's success. This team has won plenty of division titles, been to plenty of playoff series, and like I just mentioned, went a long time without winning a playoff series. And so when people, question why some fans are so skeptical about October, it's because you look at the track record. So playing Jarvis right now is okay because I don't think there's a huge urgency to try to win every single game. Like, let's finish strong because I think if the Braves go 500 the rest of the way, the Phillies would have to play like nearly 800 baseball, to catch us. So I do think the division is decided. So you can take chances on playing Jarvis a little longer, and just see what he can do. So. What are your thoughts on that, Mike? Do you think we're still playing with fire here as far as the division goes, or is this kind of a done deal?
It's kind of a done deal. I kind of ran the numbers real quick here. The rest of the way for the Braves would have to go if the Braves went 21 and 23 or worse.
Yeah,
the Philly would have to go 30 and 13 to take the division.
Not impossible. We've seen teams. But not super likely either.
Yeah, that's 700 ball. It's 698 ball technically,
yeah.
But that's 700 ball for the rest of the season. You literally just have to go on a tear the entire way, and they'd end up 93 and 69, and that would knock us out. But even still, that would put us in the wild card.
Right.
So we would have to literally completely collapse.
Yeah.
To fall out of the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, and I don't see them even going 21 and 23. Like I think the Braves will finish above 500. I think, I just think the division. I'm not saying the team can afford to think that way, but I think Walt can have some leeway as far as the decisions he makes right now because, I mean, again, there would have to be a total collapse. And Jarvis hasn't been so bad that. I mean, good grief. We survived playing Austin Riley every day for how long with being terrible. We survived Ha-Seong Kim being terrible for so long. That's another situation that I have no idea what they're going to do. $20 million albatross sitting on your bench. I know they've tried to play him a few times. He still looks pretty awful. Let's see. Kim got only 2 at-bats last week. He's 0 for 2, struck out once. So only 2 at-bats last week. Thomas did have 9 at bats. He had 1 hit and RBI. Murphy only had 8 at bats last week, which he just came back. So Dominic Smith 2 for 10, Yastrzemski 2 for 11. That's the other thing about Yastrzemski. I mean, that doesn't sound great, 2 for 11, but he has been kind of better. I mean, he's been on a little bit of a tear. He's had some big hits. That's the other thing about leaving him on the bench. I don't know. I do think there's leeway there. I think the division is going to be ours. I don't know if Walt's thinking that way. He's probably not. He probably can't afford to. I just think we look ahead to October now, though. I think you start thinking about how do I want to set this up for October? How do I want to set up the pitching staff? Another thing that's been a big topic is Chris Sale, extra days off. Does it make him rusty? But, again, he won't have those in the postseason, Mike. He will pitch on time or maybe even on short rest at points if we have to have him. So even that I don't look at as a big deal. I mean, I get upset when the Braves lose, but I understand that things that are happening now, just like Danny Young and Madero's giving up those home runs on Saturday, that's not going to happen in the postseason because they're not going to be on the roster. By the way, we didn't mention this guy at all in a huge performance yesterday from Tyler Kinley in extra innings to shut it down after the Braves got the lead. I thought, just being honest, I thought the Yankees were at least going to tie the game, with Kinley in there. And he didn't even allow the base runner to advance from second. So shout out to Tyler Kinley. He's had his ups and downs this year, a lot of downs lately. That was a huge moment. Maybe that gets him onto the – I mean, that alone won't do it. But maybe that'll propel him to a strong finish, and he ends up in that postseason bullpen.
Yeah, as soon as I saw them flip out to him to warming up, I'm like, oh, no. Here we go. Yeah. But, no, he delivered. He was able to – he pulled it off, and I was like, all right, good. All right, that's good showing from him. Yeah, he – like you said, he's not just that will get him onto the playoff roster, but he's got I think he's got a decent chance of getting on there. Like I said, bullpen wise, we have a kind of an embarrassment of riches. Like I feel like with everyone, with Raylo, with Grant Holmes possibly in there, we have an embarrassment of riches. I think we should be fine.
I think we still have a couple guys in Gwinnett that could contribute too. I mean. Karanchek, if I'm saying his name right, he's still down there. Yeah. And maybe a couple guys we hadn't seen yet that could still make because rosters expand September 1st, so you can bring up a couple extra players. I think we'll see some guys. They may not be on the postseason roster, but maybe reinforcements to get us through September until everybody's healthy and ready to go for the postseason. So I want to say this, a couple things here before we call it a night. We'll do trivia as well. You got trivia ready for us?
Yeah, we do.
My goodness, if you're watching on X, first of all, thank you for watching us. We appreciate it. The people on X, could you just stop policing everybody's fandom? Like, it's really ridiculous. Like, if people want to be negative, let them be negative. If people want to be positive, let them be positive. It doesn't affect your life at all. I see both, and I do both. Sometimes I'm negative. Sometimes I'm positive. Does it affect?
You're positive sometimes?
I am. I swear. I promise. It doesn't affect my life one bit if somebody else wants to be positive or just good grief. Like, that is 90% of Braves X is arguing about each other's fandom and how good a fan you are, because people get on there and vent. I mean, sometimes you just got to vent. Baseball is a rough sport to be a fan of sometimes. Like, it's maddening to be a baseball fan. So I wanted to say that. We're still trying to give away the Chipper Jones card. I don't have it in front of me. See if I still have the picture loaded up here. That's not it.
I might have it. Hold
on. Don't think I have it loaded up, but it's a good card. We don't have any comments. If you're listening right now or watching right now and you want to comment, all you do is comment and you're in. So anytime between now and the end of the show, Mike's going to do trivia. There you go. Thanks, Mike. There's a picture of it. It's autographed, and it has a piece of game-used jersey, so patch or relic, as they call it. So it's autographed. It's graded. It's Chipper Jones. So enter by commenting. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you jumping that up there. I didn't have it ready. Good job.
No worries.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk trivia, man. Remind us last week's, and then we'll get into this week's.
All right, so last week it was what was the worst record at the beginning of August that came back and won the World Series. We had a comment in our last stream, and he guessed the 1914 Boston Braves.
Yes.
He was correct.
That was
1914 Miracle Boston Braves. They were 44-45 on August 1st and came back and won the World Series. Given all you had to do was beat the National League, and you made it directly into the World Series back then, but even still, the Philadelphia A's were heavily favored. They had their was $100,000 infield, and we swept them. Nice. And those games were won where this was a trivia question before.
It was Fenway Park, right?
Correct. They were won at Fenway Park.
Yeah, that's really cool. And congratulations to that person. I didn't happen to write their name down. I guess I can look at last week's recording and
His name on YouTube was Go Magic. I think his real name was Kyle. I'm not sure. I looked it up. I can't remember.
All right, we'll find it. Kudos to him. Good answer. What about this week, Mike? What's the new?
There he is.
He's watching. He's our lone repeat watcher.
That's fine.
Good job.
You are
Kyle.
you're welcome to watch anytime, Kyle.
Good job, Kyle. Well done. We're proud of you.
Right.
You are still entered into the drawing for the Chipper Jones card. All right.
A drawing of one.
We appreciate you. You don't know how much we appreciate you, Kyle. We really do. We appreciate it.
We're just glad to have someone commenting on the stream.
We're glad to have somebody commenting. It feels good. Look, we don't do this for the fame, Mike. We do it for the love of the game, right?
Correct.
For the love of baseball. All right. So what's this week's question? Maybe Kyle will get this one too.
Okay. All right. So this week's was what Braves Hall of Fame pitcher threw the first no-hitter in the Atlanta era during the month of August?
First Atlanta. So was it the first Atlanta Braves pitcher to ever pitch a no-hitter in Atlanta, or just in the month of August, or just happened to be in the month of August?
It happened to be in the month of August. It was the first the first no-hitter in the Atlanta era. We'd had no-hitters in Milwaukee and Boston before, but this was the first one ever in Atlanta.
I mean, I have my guess, but I don't. I mean, it seems too obvious. Didn't you say Hall of Famer?
I did say Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so seems way too obvious, but I mean, I don't want to say it because I don't. If somebody doesn't know, and if I'm wrong, then I'll look an idiot too. But
you can tell me afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk after. It just seems too obvious. I think you're trying to throw a trick question in here.
Kyle says he sees a lot of you, a lot of himself in you. Is it the is it the gray hair? Is that what?
So, Kyle, first of all, I'm so sorry. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Bless your heart. Look, I'm just passionate, and I think this. I'll just say this: like, I think this franchise should have won more, and should win more championships. And I think it's absolutely appalling that our general manager says something like, his goal is get to the postseason and then let the chips fall where they may. Like, it's just all luck after that. Look, there is an element of luck to the game of baseball, especially postseason baseball. 2021, again, great example of that. But you can put yourself, like the Dodgers do, in a position to overcome some of that luck. And I just don't think our general manager does that on a regular basis. In the 90s, we had a generational pitching staff, and we only got one World Series title out of it. And we had a great chance in 2022 and 2023 to win 2 titles in a 3-year span, which would be huge for the city of Atlanta, by the way, a sports city that, has struggled to win championships. The Braves have the only 2 professional sports championships thanks to the greatest Super Bowl choke job of all time. And I know that was a great one for you, Mike, as a Patriots fan.
Wasn't going to say a word, but yeah.
Yeah, but, the Hawks are traditionally not great. No championships there. I guess you could count Atlanta United if you're an MLS soccer fan. But, the big 4 sports in North America, I'm watching the at-bats going on in this game. It's rough. Anyway, I'm passionate about it because I think the Braves should have won more. And I think they're the banner carriers for the city of Atlanta. And, this window that they have with Olsen and Acuna and Ozzie and this group right here, it's not going to last forever. Chris Sale, we probably get one more season out of Sale. We have some good young prospects, but, prospects, they just tend to not be what you think they're going to be. You get the generational ones like the Acunas. You get solid ones like Ozzie. You get up and down ones like Riley. And it's a mixed bag. So I think when you have a chance with a team like the Braves have this year, which is on the verge of being a great team, you go all in and you figure out a way to make that team better and give it the best shot, even if you have to give up a couple guys that you're high on. Because, again, the odds are they're not going to be as good as you think they are. So, yeah, I'm passionate about it. I let it get to me sometimes, But, I love this franchise. I love the game of baseball. So anyway, another good trivia question. I'll see when we're off the air here if I am on the right track. But, again, it seems like a trick. It seems like a trap, Mike. Seems like a trap.
It could be.
Who was the last Braves pitcher to pitch a no-hitter back in forever ago?
You're asking me who the
I'm asking
last...
you, yeah.
Was it Merker? Was that the last one?
It was Kent Merker, 1994. Yeah, it's been way too long. They're so random, though. No-hitters are so random.
Yeah.
The Mets went forever without having one at all. I think they finally got their first one like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Kent Merker. Of all those great pitchers, Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz, Avery,
was the one.
Merker. And he was also part of a combined no-hitter Merker was with Alejandro Pena. Yeah, and I can't remember who the other guy was. 3 of them, I think. So
was it Wohlers? I think Wohlers might have been part of it too. I'm not sure.
Might have been. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, Merker. That's interesting because I think he's one of only 2 maybe in history that was part of both. I remember seeing that when I was trying to get old Kent to come on our show, and he ghosted me. I was looking all that stuff up about him. So. All right, well, thanks for the trivia. We're going to wrap it up for another week. Really good stuff, and hopefully the Braves can finish off this rally. They're going to the 8th. They're still down 7-5. Maybe they can at least come back and win this series. They will then host the Diamondbacks, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend in Truist. So, oh, man, Kyle says he was at the Dodgers game where Newcomb got down to the last out. My son and I remember watching that. My son and I were absolutely devastated. We thought we were about to watch something special together, and down to the last out. And you know what? Newcomb, bless his heart, he has turned into a pretty solid pitcher. He's with the Red Sox now, right, in the bullpen? So
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's having a decent year. So good for him because he was kind of one of those that you couldn't, 2 strikes even, yeah. It's just thanks for the memories, Kyle. Yeah, no, it's that's as close as we've gotten. I mean, I think I think we've been no hit twice since then. I know Randy Johnson had the perfect game against us. I want to think somebody else might have gotten us, but things like that are so random though. No hitters, perfect games. You just don't know. It's going to happen one day, just out of the blue. Martin Perez kind of, he had one going there, a couple weekends ago. So you never know. Hey, Kyle, we appreciate you tuning in, man. I hope you win the card. And right now you have a very good chance of winning the Jones card. But yeah, Mike, you got any final thoughts? And then I'll play the music and play us out.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can come back and win this. I don't bet often, but I actually did bet on a little bit on tonight's game.
Oh boy!
And well, no, 3 of the 4 things have happened. I just need a Braves win to complete it. It was $2 to win 10. It's not I'm not betting the farm, so
that's good. That's good. I don't want you starving over there.
Nope, I'm fine.
Glad to hear that. Well, hey, guys, if you're watching on X, thank you. Make sure you followed us. And if you're not watching on X, make sure and go to X and follow us on the 9521 podcast. And also check us out on YouTube. And these are all uploaded to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'll have those up pretty quick after the show. And check us out on Bullpen Sessions. It's under the old Romantic About Baseball feed. Now it is Bullpen Sessions, where we have a little one-on-one. Mike, we're going to have you on there one week, and we'll talk probably some Braves history on that one. We'll think of a good Braves topic for that one. This week, I got Nick Arno coming on from Rounding Third Baseball, who's going to join me for the recording. It'll be out on Thursday, and we're going to talk about the biggest what-ifs for each team, the biggest Hall of Fame what-ifs for each team. So tune in for that, and that should be good stuff when that gets released. So, Mike, appreciate you jumping on again. Let's hope the Braves rally, and for all our Braves fans out there, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you at the ballpark, and go Braves. Phil Necro. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.